Hello and welcome to this incredibly special version of Hospitality and Convenience Talks, because today I'm lucky enough to be speaking to the lovely James Russell from AF Blakemore. James, would you like to introduce yourself to anyone watching and to give them an idea as to why we're calling this Hospitality Stroke Convenience Talks?
Hi Katie, thanks very much, and hello everybody. Thanks very much for your time today. My name is James Russell. I'm responsible at AF Blakemore for our wholesale business, our contract wholesale business, but also our food service business. So I suppose that's probably leads us to why we're talking about this as being hospitality and convenience. For those that don't know, AF Blakemore is a West Midlands-based family-owned wholesale business. We've been in operation now for 102 years. We're the largest independent convenience store operator in the country. We've got about 280 spa shops. We service further 750 odd spa stores through our trade partners division. We also service a bunch of national accounts, both in wholesale and in food service. So I suppose that is a quick view of where we're at. My background, for those that have an interest, is I've been this side of the fence now for about 6 years. Previously, I worked brand side, working with Britvic and Japan Tobacco, and I'm an Aussie, so deep down a winner at heart.
Thank you so much, James. That's a really great introduction. Thank you. I appreciate that. Listen, I want to start off with what I think is really interesting is that, of course, you've had a foot on both sides of the fence. So if we call it convenience and food service just for ease, and that those particular two channels have done that over the last 15 weeks. So what was the initial impact for Blakemore, and what did you do? How did you cope with two such different situations unfolding in front of you?
Yeah, really good question, and I think this has been a difficult time for lots of different operators, and I don't think that can be underplayed. I think I saw that firsthand within our business. So polar opposites, I suppose. So from a food service side of our business, we do contract distribution for businesses like Bourne Leisure, Marston's, Soho Coffee, Bistro Pierre, businesses like that, a lot of local authorities. And as you'd expect, March the 20th, the shutters came down. So our world moved from planning menu changes and innovation and new business into, actually just putting the foot in the ball and trying to ensure that we minimize the damage for us and for our partners. So that meant huge amounts of really great working between our team and our partner organizations. Mostly, believe it or not, about the period that we're in now, how we remobilize. Because our approach right from the get-go has been, at some point we're going to come out of this. What's really critical is that we get it right, and that we do an outstanding job of getting out of this. So we've been into remobilization planning since March the 21st. But done a lot of work in the meantime, working with suppliers, working with our partners, looking at how we extend product life and manage the problems that we had there. And I think it's been a credit to the way that we've worked with everybody within the chain. Difficult time, people taking a really proactive approach. The convenience side, on the other hand, really different challenges. They're well documented as well. We had all the challenges with the supply chain being completely different shape to what it was historically. Slow moving goods became fast moving overnight as the panic buying set in, and then everybody set about trying to understand what the new normal looks like against the backdrop of a food industry that was never really geared up to supply businesses in this way. So from an industry perspective, I think this will be one of these periods that we sit and tell our grandchildren about, because it's just been so different to anything that anybody could have imagined.
And so obviously, AF Blakemore, you say you've got the years behind you. Didn't know that it was 102 years old, by the way. That's fantastic. That's great news. But what are you looking at now? So what's the focus for you? Because obviously some pubs and bars and restaurants have reopened, and there is some, we know from research that we've done ourselves, that I think only around 60% are open at the moment. There are a lot that possibly will never open again. What support did you guys put in place? And I love the idea as well that you were all, as everything was closing down, you were thinking, right, how do we reopen? I think that's really positive and proactive. So what have you done to help those customers reopen, and what have you been seeing in the industry from the food service side? And then similar question for the convenience, but that's more what's changed and what's next.
I think the food service side, as I touched on before, was all about how do we move out of this, and that's about looking. We did a bit of research early on to look at how consumers might react, and shared some of that with our partners. We know that menu simplification has been really important, have been really on the front foot with our partners on that front. And so we've done all of those obvious things. The less obvious things that we've done have been, as an operator of convenience stores, from day one, we had to be in a place where we were preparing our partners and our colleagues for social distancing. So providing, sanitization solutions, spacing solutions for stores, and even down to perspex screens through our shop fitting unit. We had solutions from day one that we executed through our retail estate. We're able to turn those to our food service partners very, very quickly. So within the leisure environment, we've been able to take a lot of those learnings and help those people to navigate their way through that faster. I think we've also seen in this space the need for us to bring and migrate some of the solutions that we have in retail around food to go into the bar and leisure environment. So we've been able to react really quickly to bring food to go solutions, for example, into a different customer set and provide those customers as they're reopening with a different set of solutions. And we've already seen there's been a lot of supply chain disruption, through this period, and we've been able to support some of those guys who've been impacted through some of that disruption as well. So, I think one of the key pieces for us as a business, we're really broad in terms of our coverage, our ability to take solutions from one part of the business and engineer that so it delivers in another channel has been really, really important for us. From a convenience perspective, I think we've got to remember that while convenience has been strong, city centre and transient locations haven't really experienced the same uplift and the same opportunity. So, as a business and as a family-owned business, it's been really important for us to support both sets of retailers. So we're supported with rent relief and payment holidays and so forth for those customers that have been impacted in stores suffering a downturn, all the way through to the fact that we've kept a lot of our sales colleagues and business development colleagues on the ground able to support retailers within their shops, where actually, these guys have been working 12, 14 hours a day, 7 days a week, just giving them the opportunity to have a break, get away from their business. It all very much ties back to our values as a family business supporting family and small businesses.
And obviously we are now in a period of transition. So from a food service point of view, we've got places opening up or deciding they're not going to open up one way or the other. From a convenience side of things, I've certainly noticed a different mix of product, different categories coming more to the forefront. Personally, I see that continuing. I can see that continuing to evolve. Looking to the future, what do you think is going to stick? What's changed in both of those areas that you think we're going to see continue? And are there any areas that you think might sort of fall by the wayside or come back? And I'm not necessarily just talking trends, but just, overarching values, views, categories, trends, everything.
I think one of the big things that'll change, and one of the trends I think might emerge is actually seeing more food to go and better food to go in neighbourhood convenience. So bringing the two together. We talk a lot with our colleagues. So Blakemore has really embraced home working. We've encouraged our team to go and work from home. But at the same time, we've recognised the need to ensure that people have a balanced approach. We encourage people to get time away from their screens and so forth. So lunchtime today, for example, went out the house, went for a walk down to my local spa shop to get some lunch. And the funny thing is that seeing the same people in the store at lunchtime today that I saw on Tuesday, and doing the same thing. They're buying something for lunch and are taking the opportunity to get out the house. Yeah. And so from that perspective, even within my area, you're starting to see a little bit of a different sort of trend emerge as people's behaviour change. And I think, that's probably one of the opportunities. People are embracing the idea of
That's a really
stopping.
good point, because I suppose, I mean, personally, I am sick to death of my own cooking, and at lunchtime, I've got a rota of about 3 or 4 different things I have. I either have a tuna salad or I have and so I suppose, yeah, there is a real opportunity for convenience stores in village and town locations to still be providing lunch for people who don't want to eat their own food.
And coffee shop, yeah, our local coffee shop's doing exactly the same thing. So I think that we'll see a lot more of that, and I think to that end, we've talked traditionally about the merging or the blurring of the lines of convenience and food service. I think we'll start to see even more of that happening as we're seeing a broader spread of missions in these stores. So I think it's a really difficult time, but I think it's also potentially a really exciting time. I thought I was really encouraged by the Chancellor's announcement yesterday. I think the support to the hospitality trade has been really, it's quite strong. I think some of the programs in place, while it remains to be seen how successful they will be, I think actually it's a good attempt at trying to drive the market forward. And I think I'd urge everybody, whether it's on the government's coin or not, to ensure that they do get out and they do support the food service and on trade market. I think it's really important that anybody who might be watching this video do one thing out of this. Go out there and go and have a meal at your local pub, at your local restaurant. Go and support these businesses because they really need it now. It's really, really important that we, as a business, as a sector, as a community, support these businesses and ensure that they're there tomorrow and the day after tomorrow.
Brilliant. Well, I couldn't find a better place to stop if I'd have actually given you a script for today's interview. So thank you. That's absolutely great. I absolutely agree with you, and I promise you that I will take you up on that quest, and I will go out and have a couple of drinks at my local pub tomorrow night.
Brilliant. Well done, Katie.
Thanks for your time, James.
Thanks for your time. Cheers.
Thank you. Bye bye.